Rainmaker on Black Belly. Let's do it.
Oh, we actually have a tent umbrella on the side of... I believe that is... Team 20. Wait, no.
Oh, yeah, Team 20. Yeah, that is Team 20, I believe.
Oh, no, it's Splatbusters, right? But, so, yeah, the team of Splatbusters actually has the tent umbrella. Okay, we also have the Kensa undercover umbrella. Has the armor, has the torpedoes, so it's going to be able to, weed out some of the, well, I guess spot out some of the players on the other team, and it's going to be able to support and ink and build armor, to help allow the team to push right now.
Yeah. And interesting that, like, the tent umbrella is another pick. We saw that earlier in the exhibition match. But Pokeboy, of course, taking that Ken's undercover umbrella, and you know what, like, I never would have imagined the Ken's undercover being like an actual thing on this thing, but like definitely if I actually was to play a little bit more Rainmaker on this map, I myself will probably be using it a little bit more just because I'm very familiar with the undercover. But that being said, of course, two members do go down on Splatbusters right now. Mr. J carrying that Rainmaker just right behind Mr. Pokeboy right now, using that umbrella to put shield. But it worked for a little bit, but Rev just came out of the sky and just said, no, be gone. I'm just going to go ahead and end the Rainmaker push right there. 3 members of Team 20 do go down, and right now Splatbusters looking with a little bit of an opportunity to be able to push up.
I always think that's just so sick to see, like when, especially when people use umbrella, like they just come in front of their teammates and then they get their umbrella out just to defend them. I love that type of play. It's just really cool to see. But as we see right now, Rev wielding the tent umbrella really well, blocking all the shots and, trying to get into a safe place right now. Fortunately, got into a kind of awkward place. It was kind of a bunch of ink on the ground, but see, we are on board with Mr. J using the Sloshed Deco. It's definitely, Sloshed Deco is actually somewhat of a... It's something that people really use on Splat zones on this particular map, but I can kind of see how it may be able to be used on on Rainmaker as well. It can definitely help when it comes to leading the pushes, especially on the left side now, since it's more of a slope, so it's a lot easier to actually, use Baller on that side. But Suction Bomb coming out from Sama right here, Bubbles coming out from Rev 2, opening up over here. Sama also really close with a Baller, and maybe wanting to use this to maybe push to the left side right now before she gets taken out by the Ultra Bomb by Siren right there.
Yeah, look at the defensive play by both teams looking really good. Siren actually coming up super clutch right there with that auto. Was it the chicken bomb they just? I
believe that was the chicken bomb. Yes.
Yeah, the clutch chicken bomb right there, and picking up a third, possibly a fourth right here as he's trying to actually defend the ball. Sorry, the Rainmaker shield. Of course, that's going to look really sitting in a very defensive place right here, using that splashdown, picks off one other player right there. Beautiful play, just right in front of this half pipe. That is going to be a wipe, and right now, it seems like Team 20 looking really strong, pushing out with that Stingray.
Yeah, I like the use of the Stingray right there. It allows Team 20 to have some sort of support to allow the Rainmaker to go closer to the Rainmaker pedestal right there. Unfortunately, though, you can't be never happy with a push of 13. Come on now, but unfortunately they do get taken out, and it does seem that Splatbusters are going to try and take that control. The Stingray comes out, and it's going to clear out the half pipe area right now. So now Splatbusters have the opportunity to actually push through the left side right now, using the Tender Brother shield to lead them, have the support from the heavy Splatling behind them, and I feel like the problem right now is that they just don't have anybody right now leading for them. The Boar is here, but it maybe just came out a little bit too late. Managed to take out King, and Pokeboy using the Kensa undercover brother to actually take out the Rainmaker there. And now, getting really close to their armor, the Tenta Brother shield coming back in. There's so much coming on right now. Armor possibly coming out from Pokeboy, probably just to be able to defend this. Almost 30 seconds left, and I've run out of things to say.
Don't worry, I'll take over for you, my friend. We got Whoop right now sitting with that Stingray. 26 seconds left on the clock. Actually, we're looking really good for the rest of the team. It seems right now that Splatbusters are kind of struggling to find their little foothold right here. Of course, we need Team 20 right now to be able to just defend this as much as possible. You know, the constant barrage of Stingray and what was it? The torpedo bombs right here. Just going to make it very difficult for Whoop to be able to actually make any sort of pertinent push. And of course, I think that's going to be pretty much it for the game one. You know, Team 20 showing why they've been the very dominant force in this tournament. You know, of course, not managing to get that victory that they needed versus Aruka, but definitely being, you know, one of the most threatening presences here on this tournament.
Yeah, I really like what they did there. When it came to just securing that, they used the use of the Stingray. We had Poke Boy also throwing torpedoes just to make it even more annoying for the Rainmaker to really survive there. I mean, Rainmaker doesn't really have the greatest, I guess, matchup against torpedoes, so it really you would need to really rely on your teammates to make sure those torpedoes get taken out there. Because the Rainmaker, I mean, it could get a couple shots on, but like I guess the torpedo can come out much faster and quicker compared to, I guess, a Rainmaker shot. So definitely, you know, the combination of the Stingray and the torpedoes really helped them to secure the victory there.
Yeah. Now, before I talk about this tower control Moray Towers map, I just want to kind of like just point out this one thing that we had 2 games so far in this tournament. One of them was the exhibition match, and the other one just now, where it was Black Belly Rainmaker. And there's been a team that's opted to use the Tent Umbrella, and we've seen what the Tent Umbrella can do, but unfortunately, it seems like I think it was just so situational. They weren't able to get the pushes that they would have liked to had. The opposing team, that, you know, being able to just opt for more aggressive picks. They, you know, obviously they brought in Team 20 brought in that Kens Umbrella, and you know, it was just able to do so many things. But do you think that it is possible to actually secure a victory using the Tent Umbrella if coordinated right?
Yeah, for sure. Like, especially when especially if you're comboing it with the bubbles as well, because it's like, if you just picture this, like, the Tent Umbrella basically has 4 walls. It has its own Tent Umbrella shield and 3 bubbles. So if you're, like, I guess, spreading the walls out, I guess, widely, it can really, like, it's very, very hard to actually fend off against it. And especially when you do have your teammates as well, making sure the bubbles are lit, and of course when the Rainmaker's pushing behind it, it really does help when it comes to trying to push like that.
Oh, for sure, yeah. So now we head into this game too, which is of course Moray Towers tower control. Right now, it seems like we have it's always this like this game of like who can get the first catch on mid here, like trying to ink it up as much as possible, and then go for that tower push, leading into things like, you know, going into the overlook, you know, going into the snipe, who can just kind of invade the enemy side a little bit more quicker. So far, we're seeing, like, you know, we have Team 20 that's bringing in things like the Ballpoint Nouveau and the Kens Umbrella once again, and the Kens Dualies being like very, very safe picks. But also now we have Splat Busters. They brought in a Squeezer. I don't see the Squeezer pick very often. Combined also with the Dualie Sculptures. What can you tell me about that?
The Squeezer is a little bit interesting. I definitely feel like it's going to be more of the player that's probably going to stay around the tower. Like, I guess bubbles on this particular map can be really helpful in terms of defending against the tower. I mean, in terms of pushing, then it can be really strong. I guess maybe the idea of it is probably to push through Sneaky, and then going up through Sneaky through the, I guess, the goal ramps, basically, like, I guess, the straightaway up to overlooks. Squeezer has a lot of range when it comes to, I guess, using his tap firing ability, so definitely it could be a really good, you know, pick to use. But on board with the match back right now, we also have Sirens has the ball already. Probably going to use it right now. There he goes. Just trying to figure out a way to defend himself right now. Probably trying to get towards, I guess, the higher position right now. Going towards Snipe. On board with Final right now. Has the custom dually scholarship. Probably a little bit out of position at this point. Going towards right onto the tower, but I mean, they managed to work it out right now. I think the custom blaster, I believe that the Sama has the custom blaster, so made sure that they took out 2 players before Final could actually secure the tower right there. But you know, Sama using the ink armor, or the ink, not the ink armor, the ink cloud right there, King with the ballpoint, taking out Sama, unfortunately, and also trying to reclaim this tower. And the Stingray coming in to actually defend, what's it called, I guess, not defend, but I guess stop the tower from pushing any further right now. And Sama, bombarded with a bunch of yellow ink. Mr. J with the slushy machine came with the Stingray after, but now trying to get a little bit more of an aggressive approach using his short range capabilities here.
Yeah, it seems like, okay, like, this game is, it seems like right now, Splatbusters is trying to make a little bit more of a decent comeback. The one thing that both teams are missing, which I'm really noticing, is the lack of a proper push towards Overload. Because it seems like whenever one tries to take the first checkpoint, they do get it, but, you know, there's still kind of like all this threat coming in from, like, this is vertical threat, really, like, just either one person sitting on Overlook just constantly raining down ink and just making it hard for the enemy team. I think the only reason why Team 20 was able to make it work that one time is because they just rushed Snipe and they managed to clear out as much as possible. And I think like they had a bunch of specials at the ready, so to negate any of the threat coming in from the Overlook. But yeah, like it's still kind of like this telling game. They're like both of the teams constantly doing that. As we see Mr. J just kind of climb up and just try to see about like getting another tower push going.
Oh, this is a confrontation right here. We have Sama and Mr. J going for some shots right there. Unfortunately, both of them are missing, but Sama comes on top. Has an undercover brother, Mr. Pokeball. Unfortunately, gets shut down right there. Sama has the Inkjet ready, possibly going to use it right now. Here it comes. Inkjet coming in. As two players to fend off against. The ballpoint's not looking at them. The Dualies has their number on them. Sama got to play it really careful right here before. Oh, yeah, it seems like I believe that would be Team 20 almost getting the lead there. Unfortunately, they did not get the lead right there. Actually, no.
No, actually, it was Splatbusters that managed to get the lead right there.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I think that was just a matter of Sama just coming in super clutch and just getting all those picks that you needed right there. I think, even when, like, not using that Inkjet, wasn't able to get one pick with the Inkjet, but just, like, I think just narrowly managing to avoid all these shots. But of course, oh my goodness, Team 20 right now pushing it up, and they almost got the lead, but Splatbusters at the last second managed to actually defend it off, thus tying the game to a 1-1.
That could have been extremely close. I mean, a really, really good Stingray. I think, like, if that Stingray wasn't actually there, Team 20 probably would have had the opportunity to actually take that match. Fortunate for them, but, you know, the Stingray, definitely very strong. It's definitely a force to be reckoned with. You can't, I guess, defend yourself against it once you're on tower, or especially if the Stingray is shooting Stingray, or someone's shooting a Stingray towards the tower. I mean, unless you do, of course, you have Ink Armor, but, you know, it doesn't last so that you can't defend yourself that long for an Ink Armor. It'll keep you safe, but not for, you know, a huge amount of time. But with that being said, we actually are now going back into Splat Zone's Piranha Pit. Now, personally, I'm just going to say I really like this map for Splat Zones. Comes with 2 zones, quite wide. I mean, a bunch of the map doesn't really get used, but still a lot of confrontation comes out of it. There's a lot of different ways to go in and, you know, secure the zone, neutralize the zone. Some interesting things, like, some interesting things. Like, you kind of see maybe things like Explosion actually get used here quite often these days. Because it's like, basically how it's used is it kind of sits on, I guess, the main snipe area and kind of just throws Explosion shots towards, I guess, the home zone right there, because it's just, I mean, it paints so much, and you can also get bubbles going around in the air, and it's just, people don't really take out the bubbles too often because I guess they're kind of they're not really on the floor where the usual confrontation is kind of above you, so the players are kind of required to look up instead, so, you know, it might be something we might see. Looking into the comps right now as we get into this game. Ooh, there we go. Cool.
Oh, there it is. You actually called it out. But of course, we also see the Tent Umbrella coming in. But you know what? I'm actually really excited to see that Expulsure. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, and it might prove to be super useful, especially on this map. Like, it seems to be a little bit more of a specialty, really, for like being able to clear out the right ramp, the left ramp, and then just kind of being able to secure zones. I don't know. I think Explosher isn't like, would you say that it's being regarded as like not like it's a backline pick, not necessarily for its kill potential, but more for like its threatening potential, like being able to just ink and safely pick off targets if possible?
Yeah, it's definitely kind of that. Like a lot of people, there's been quite a bit of speculation whether it's like more backline or whether it can be played like more like I guess more of an aggro like midline weapon. But personally, I mean, I definitely feel like it's a lot more backline more than anything, and it definitely is really good at trying to get picks from afar since it can play very safe. But I guess the thing that that's different about it compared to like other backline weapons like Heavy or Splat Charger is that its mobility options are very, very slow. So you have to kind of play very, very careful with it compared to like a Splat Charger or a Heavy Splatling that can take on things like, I guess, close range really well. So I guess it's just, you gotta be careful with how you approach with it, and also make sure that you have a bunch of ink to move around to make sure that you're safe then.
Yeah, and you know, I will say this. I do think that this game is a little bit strange because I just noticed that like the comp that Splat Busters brought in. I mean, granted that there isn't really that much of a deficit in terms of like the points right now. Of course, you know, Team 20 is looking really good at the moment, but you know, Splat Busters is slowly starting to catch up as much as possible. But I mean, even in their comp, they have the Tenderbrella, they have a strong backline, and they have something that's very midline. I think like the only frontline they have is like a custom blaster. So, and it seems to be working out for them. It seems like they are getting the picks that they need. They're just not pushing up the enemy zone as much as they should.
Yeah, for sure. Like they have the what's it called? They have the double bubble. It'd probably be a thing where they might have to chain it together to make sure, you know, they can, I guess, create a bunch of walls to just help them push up and also make a bunch of ink at the same time. I mean, you'd usually see things like Stingray to compensate with it as well, because Stingray on this map, considering it's very flat, just kind of like Port Mackerel in a way, can be very, very helpful in these types of, I guess, maps and stuff.
Alright, 8 Sama right now, once again using that blaster, coming up super clutch in the previous game, but it gets taken out by Siren Splat Bomb. I think that was probably just because the auto bomb actually connected with the Tenderbrella.
Yeah, the Tenderbrella shield. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of an inadvertent, like, I'm sorry fam, I just accidentally killed you, but you know, that's how we do it right here. Pokeboy still trying to manage to narrowly squeeze by, trying to see if he can get a kill on Sama, but does not manage to do so. Right now, Rev looking really, really good with that Tenderbrella. We've seen him make some really clutch plays and being able to escape from enemy team fire as well. Has those bubbles on lock here, being able to actually throw them out, avoiding the torpedoes, and of course just trying to see what they can actually do to get it back. But you know, it's just not meant.
Look at that survival! Look at that survival! I love how he used the shield just to, like, I guess, shower within it. Gets a nice shot on the. Yeah, he basically, some guy was trying to run away. He just said, "Nope, I got a Tenderbrella. I'm gonna shoot you right now, and you're gonna have to take the long way out." So.
Oh, they're 1 point away from the lead, and they got it. They got it. Oh. So Siren actually does manage to take out 8 Sama right here, just pushing up towards the enemy zone. 3 members using the splashdown, doesn't catch anyone, but right now trying to make a mad dash, just running away because all this, like, there's rain, there's bubbles, there's like all these specials being chained out. Really well done by Splat Busters. They're trying to see what they can do actually versus Team 20.
Job by Siren, picking up 1 kill, but gets taken out by Final there with the dually scorches. Looking really, really safe right now. Gets another pick. That's actually a really huge pick. I mean, the bubbles are coming in right now, but they, with I guess the manpower right now, they'd be able to take them out. The Expulsion is shooting bubbles. The Tenderbrella, it looks like Rev is going in with the Tenderbrella right now, looking to probably get a pick. Just, I like how Final's actually making sure that they stay behind Rev the majority of the time, just to make sure that they can use that shield to their advantage too. So it's kind of like a thing where Final's kind of playing backline specifically for Rev to make sure that they are safe the majority of the time.
You know what though? I do have to allow them just for that, for these plays right here, because like it not only seems that Rev's making like these stellar plays on the Tenderbrella, but like the rest of the team is just following up, and I think that's pretty much going to be it. A 2-1 coming in for Splat Busters. Yeah, Splat Busters actually managed to take that versus Team 20. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, I mean, Do we class that as an upset?
Yeah, I'm not really sure because it seems like Team 20 was just doing so, like, they were just mopping up the opposition through games 1 through 4, and then they come in game 4 versus Iruka, which is, you know, that's understandable, but like it seems like they still have their top 8 ticket pretty much punched in. They already know that they're going to be able to make it, so I mean, I think for those teams that they're already looking pretty good going into the top 8. But Splatbusters, you know, this must be really good for them if they manage to get a game versus them and they manage to win versus Team 20, who's looking pretty strong at the moment. You know, that's going to be a bit of a confidence booster.